Today's lecture is all about a classic debate in taxonomy, typological versus nominalist species concept. In typological concept, species are seen as fixed ideal types with defining characteristics. Variation is often ignored. But in nominalistic or nominalist species concept, species are simply names we give to groups of organisms based on convenience and similarity, not fixed realities. So the big question is, are species real, natural units, or just human-made categories? Let's discuss step by step and bring complete clarity to this concept. We will begin by understanding the species category, which forms the foundation of biological classification. Then we will explore typological species concept, followed by its major criticism. Next, we will move to nominalist species concept, and we will also examine its limitations. By the end, you will have a clear understanding of both concepts and their significance in taxonomy. By the end of this lecture, you will have a strong understanding of how species are defined in taxonomy. You will be able to define the concept of species and describe the foundation of both the typological and nominalist species concept. You will also explain their key characteristics with relevant zoological examples and differentiate clearly between the two based on variation and classification. In addition, you will apply these concepts to simple biological scenarios, evaluate their strengths and limitations, and finally formulate your own conclusion about their relevance in modern systematics. Species is considered the most important category in the taxonomic hierarchy. पिछले क्लासेस में आपने स्पीशीज की बहुत सिंपल डेफिनेशन पढ़ी होगी, लेकिन अगर आप हिस्ट्री को देखें तो हिस्ट्री में स्पीशीज इतनी ज्यादा सिंपल नहीं रही जितनी आप उसको डिफाइन करते हैं। वक्त के साथ साथ बहुत सारे डिफरेंट कॉन्सेप्ट्स आए, लोगों के नजरिए चेंज होते गए स्पीशीज के बारे में। तो इस लेक्चर में और आने वाले कुछ लेक्चर्स में आप स्पीशीज के डिफरेंट कॉन्सेप्ट और वक्त के साथ साथ स्पीशीज की क्या डेफिनेशन रही, लोगों का नजरिया क्या रहा और उसमें क्या क्या चेंजेस आए, और इससे आपको इस कैटेगरी की इंपॉर्टेंस का भी पता चल जाएगा, क्योंकि टैक्सोनॉमिक क्लासिफिकेशन स्टार्ट ही स्पीशी से होती है। स्पीशी इज द फाउंडेशन। सो अ स्पीशीज इज defined as a group of closely related organisms that can interbreed and produce fertile offsprings. However, in nature, closely related organisms like horse and donkey may sometime interbreed but still fail to produce fertile offsprings. For example, here horse and donkey can cross to produce a mule, but mule is infertile. So this clearly shows that horse and donkey are separate species. They are not one species. Interestingly, the mule often shows improved characteristics like the strength and endurance, a phenomena known as hybrid vigor. Like it shows strength of a horse, hardness of donkey, better endurance, high tolerance, and greater working ability. So understanding species help us clearly define biological boundaries in taxonomy. First, we will discuss a few definitions given by some naturalists, and then we will start from the beginning, from typological species concept. So according to George Cuvier, a species is defined as a group of organisms that are descended from common parents and resemble each other. So this definition emphasizes on two key ideas. Number one is common ancestry, and the second is similarity in structure. For example, animals like lions, horses, or even pigeons within their respective groups show strong resemblance and share a common origin. तो आप देखें, लाइन्स जो है वो कॉमन एंसेस्ट्री और रिजेम्बलेंस शो करते हैं। इसी तरह हॉर्सेस कॉमन एंसेस्ट्री और रिजेम्बलेंस शो करते हैं। एक काइंड के सेम काइंड के जो पिजन्स होते हैं, दे also share common ancestry and they have close resemblance. And similarly, despite variations, all human beings belong to the same species due to shared ancestry. इसमें डिफरेंट रंग और नस्ल के एशियन, कॉकेशियंस एंड इसी तरह नेग्रोज हो सकते हैं, वेरिएशंस हो सकती है, बट इनकी जो एंसेस्ट्री है that is same, and that is the species is same, that is Homo sapiens. So Covey concept highlights that species are natural groups based on descent and resemblance, forming an important early understanding in taxonomy. According to Thomson, a species is defined as a group of individuals that share an irreducible set of constant properties and are connected through descent and genetic relationships. So, this means that members of a species have stable inherited characteristics that remain constant over time. For example, lions, humans, and even different breeds of dogs may show variation, but they all share a common genetic identity within their species. So, Thomson concept emphasizes that species are not just based on appearances but on genetic continuity and inherited traits. So, this idea brings us closer to the modern understanding of species in biology. According to Huxley, a species is a geographically definable group whose members actually or potentially interbreed in nature. At the same time, these members are reproductively isolated from other related groups, which means they do not interbreed freely or produce fully fertile offsprings with them. Another important point is that species are distinguished by constant morphological differences, which helps us identify them clearly. For example, animals like lions and tigers, or you can consider different species of finches, they may appear similar but remain reproductively isolated in nature. So, Huxley's concept combines interbreeding, reproductive isolation, and morphology, bringing us much closer to the modern biological concepts. So, key points are geographical groups, actual or potential interbreeding, no free interbreeding with related groups, constant morphological differences और natural distinctness. तो जो बातें हो गई वो ये कि फॉर एग्जांपल लाइंस है तो वो आपस में इंटरब्रीड करेंगे और फर्टाइल ऑफस्प्रिंग प्रोड्यूस करेंगे, बट दे कैन नॉट इंटरब्रीड विद टाइगर्स. इसी तरह टाइगर्स आपस में इंटरब्रीड कर सकते हैं, बट दे कैन नॉट इंटरब्रीड विद लाइंस. इस तरह हॉर्सेस इंटरब्रीड विद ईच अदर, बट दे कैन नॉट इंटरब्रीड विद टाइगर्स, और फिंचेस इंटरब्रीड विद ईच अदर, बट दे कैन नॉट इंटरब्रीड विद फॉक्सेस. और इसी तरह फिंचेस के अंदर भी कई सारे डिफरेंट स्पीशीज हैं, तो वो आपको सिमिलर दिखते होंगे. फॉर एग्जांपल ये तो आपको सिमिलर दिख रहे हैं, बट ये अलग स्पीशी है फिंच की और ये अलग है. तो ये अपने ग्रुप के साथ तो इंटरब्रीड कर सकती है बट कैन नॉट इंटरब्रीड विद दिस वन. सो यहाँ पे तीन इंपॉर्टेंट बातें हो गई: इंटरब्रीडिंग, रिप्रोडक्टिव आइसोलेशन एंड मॉर्फोलॉजी. नाउ लेट्स start from the very beginning, from typological species concept. In 1957, Ernest Mayr carefully reviewed the work of earlier taxonomists on the species problem. He concluded that the many definitions of species can be broadly grouped into three main concepts. First, the typological species concept, which defines species based on morphological characteristics. The second one, a nominalistic species concept, which considers species as names given for convenience. And the third, the biological species concept, which defines species based on interbreeding and reproductive isolation. These three concepts form the foundation of modern systematics in evolutionary biology. So now let's start and discuss each one of them in detail. The typological species concept is one of the earliest ideas in taxonomy, mainly proposed during the pre-Darwinian period. The most important contributors to this concept was Carl Linnaeus, and its roots go back to Greek philosophers like Plato and Aristotle. This concept is largely philosophical in nature. According to this view, species are considered immutable and fixed entities, which means they do not change over time. All of all members of a species are seen as copies of an ideal or perfect type, known as the Platonic idios. For example, all dogs were considered variations of one ideal dog type, regardless of their differences. So, the key idea is that species are constant, unchanging, and defined by ideal characteristics. Now, let's look at the key postulates of typological species concept. First one, a species is considered as a group of similar individuals sharing the same essence or ideal type. The second one is each species is clearly separated from others by distinct discontinuities, which means no smooth transitions between species. The third one, species are considered as completely constant through time, no evolutionary change. And finally, there are strict limits to variation. So any differences seen within a species are considered minor and restricted. Together, these postulates reinforce the idea that species are fixed, unchanging, and sharply defined units in nature. तो आप इनमें देख सकते हैं कि वो कहते हैं कि सेम स्पीशीज है, ये आइडियल टाइप्स हैं और अगर वेरिएशन एग्जिस्ट करती है बट दैट इज विद इन स्ट्रिक्ट लिमिट्स। इसी तरह डॉग्स में अगर डिफरेंट स्पीशीज है, इस तरह सेम स्पीशीज है और डॉग के डिफरेंट इस तरह आपको नजर आ रहे हैं, तो वो कहते हैं कि दीज आर वेरिएशन, लेकिन विद इन स्ट्रिक्ट डिफरेंसेस। और फिर शार्पली डिसकंटिन्यूटी जो बात कर रहे हैं, तो ये है, कह रहे हैं कि दीज आर शार्पली डिफरेंट फ्रॉम डॉग्स। इसी तरह अगर डिफरेंट स्पीशीज है तो ये डिसकंटिन्यूटी है, और डिसकंटिन्यूटी का मतलब ये हुआ कि कोई स्मूथ चेंज नहीं आया कि इनसे ये इवॉल्व हुए हैं, या कोई स्मूथ चेंज नहीं आया कि इनसे ये इवॉल्व हुए हैं, बल्कि ये अलग है, ये अलग है, ये अलग है, अलग अलग टाइप्स हैं। तो दे फोर्सिंग फिक्सिटी, अनचेंजिंग, कहते हैं कि स्पीशीज में ना कोई चेंज आती है ना कोई इवोल्यूशन आती है, और ये स्ट्रिक्ट आइडियल टाइप्स हैं, या जिसको पिछले स्लाइड में हमने प्लेटोनिक एडियोस का नाम दिया। The followers of this concept were known as typologists. They believed that each species has its own individual identity, and what truly matters are the essential differences between organisms. This concept is also called essentialism or the essentialistic species concept. According to this view, species are recognized and preserved based on their essential characters, such as color, size, and habitat. These essential features are mainly expressed through morphology, which is why this concept is also known as the morphological species concept. In simple terms, species are seen as fixed entities defined by their essential traits. Despite its historical importance, the typological species concept has several major limitations. First, it assumes that species are fixed and unchanging, but in reality, organisms show significant variation due to age, sex, polymorphism, and sexual dimorphism. The second one, this concept suggests that species are sharply distinct, but in nature, some species exist which are known as sibling species. They may look almost identical morphologically, however, these species are actually reproductively isolated, which means they cannot interbreed successfully. This shows that relying on only morphology can be misleading. Because of these limitations, the typological species concept was eventually rejected in modern taxonomy and replaced by more scientific approaches. Nominalist or nominalistic species concept was proposed by Occam and his followers. Unlike the typological view, this concept denies the existence of real species in nature. It urges that only individuals are real and species are simply names created by humans for convenience. This idea became popular in 18th century France, supported by scientists like de Buffon and Lamarck. However, because it ignores natural biological relationship, it has limited use today, mainly in some areas of botany. So, in simple terms, species are just labels, not entities. Bessie explained the nominalistic species concept in 1908 by saying that nature produces only individuals and nothing more. According to this view, species have no actual existence in nature. They are only mental concepts created by humans. Species names are used simply to group and discuss a large number of similar individuals collectively. However, this idea was strongly criticized because biologists generally agree that species are not just human-made labels. Species are real biological groups and are the products of evolution. So this criticism weakened the nominalistic species concept in modern taxonomy. Thank you for watching. If you found this lecture helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Click the link below to explore more zoology lectures and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. If you have any question, drop them in the comment section. I will be happy to help. See you in the next lecture.